This is San Diego News Daily.
Hello and welcome to San Diego News Daily. I'm Monica Hernandez. A deadly crash in Encinitas is prompting new safety concerns along a busy street after a woman was hit and killed crossing it last night. NBC7's Jeanette Quesada shows us why some say change is needed to help prevent another tragedy.
You can still see some of the markings from investigators where they say that accident happened Friday evening. While we've been out here, as you can see, the speed limit reads 35 miles per hour, but we have seen as drivers have been going well above that speed limit. Also here on site, we see right across the street from this crosswalk, they have been setting up flowers in memory of the young lady that was killed.
It's heartbreaking. I hurt for her family.
Jackie Kissel is devastated by a car versus pedestrian crash that killed a woman crossing the street on El Camino del Norte near La Quebrada. Sheriff's investigators say the deadly incident happened around 7:30 Friday night when a 2025 Nissan Z crashed into the woman. Longtime resident Jackie Kissel witnessed the aftermath.
It was very fresh. It was very much, no one knew what was happening. All you could see was just a sea of red and blue and just a ton of vehicles, a ton of enforcement, ambulance, medic, all of it.
El Camino del Norte serves as a major artery connecting Escondido to the coast without having to take the interstate, though drivers treat the street like a freeway.
I think that's where a lot of drivers get confused. They treat it like a racetrack instead.
Kessel says around sunset, there's a lot of road glare when traveling westbound.
It's very bright. We have that perfect angle with the hill up in the background, and it just cuts at a perfect angle every time, and it's blinding for a bit.
That's why she says more enforcement is needed to remind drivers to lower their speed.
Ticket. Let's do it, because, it's sad that we have to get to this point.
Jeanette Quesada, NBC7.
A suspected robber led police on a wrong-way freeway chase that ended in a standoff and police firing pepper balls. Police started chasing the man around 11:40 Friday night on Murrow Mesa Boulevard and Pacific Heights Road. They say when he jumped on the 5 freeway, going the wrong way. Police say he ran off the road when they used spike strips to stop him on Easter Way near Eastgate Mall. After pinning him in, officers negotiated with him, but he refused to get out of the vehicle. He was later taken to the hospital for unknown injuries. At this point, we are still working to find out if the car was stolen and what charges he's facing. This fire in La Mesa has left a family without a home. The flames erupted last night at this home on Panorama Drive off the 125 and 94 freeways. According to Heartland Fire, the flames were contained to the living room with smoke damage throughout the home. Crews had trouble finding the source because the flames were in the walls and the attic. The cause of the fire is under investigation. No injuries were reported. 1 week after the federal government spent $739 million to buy the Otay Mesa Detention Center, newly obtained records show that's more than 4 times the value the county placed on it. The Department of Homeland Security last week paid $1.5 billion to buy 2 detention centers from private prison company CoreCivic. DHS says it was prompted by California's effort to ban private prisons. The San Diego County record shows the assessor's office valued the Otay Mesa Detention Center at $168 million this year. Now, the assessor says the facility was put on the tax rolls in 2016 at $100 million, and state law caps the amount those values and property taxes can rise. Meanwhile, he says rising construction costs would have made building a new facility far more expensive.
There's a couple of factors that played into this deal. 1, the unique location. 2, the impact of immigration system right now. It can't be understated. They're in a shortage of beds. So when there's a shortage in the market, prices go up.
Because the federal government doesn't pay taxes, San Diego County will lose about $2.1 million in property taxes every year from the sale. A long-standing pride tradition returned to San Diego this weekend for the first time in more than 2 decades. Hundreds of people took part in the Dyke March through Hillcrest, a march organizers say hadn't been held in San Diego since the 90s. The half-mile route connected 2 longtime LGBTQ+ gathering places, celebrating the community's history while also highlighting the work that still lies ahead.
We're not starting something new here. We're bringing something back, something that always belonged.
Organizers say the march honored the historic role lesbians have played in the LGBTQ+ rights movement, including during the AIDS epidemic, while also encouraging people to continue advocating for equality beyond Pride Week. The march stretched from Moe's Bar to Gossip Grill, with organizers estimating between 500 and 650 people took part. NBC 7 meteorologist Brooke Martell will have a look at your weather right after this.
We are rolling. Your left, I'm sorry.
Let's do this.
Where do you get your information from?
Well, definitely start with the local news.
The reason why I love listening to local news like NBC, they give the facts.
California families could feel
They have a genuine interest, first as people and second as a news team.
Because this is their community too.
Sometimes the news isn't always fun. Bringing it to us every day in good and bad times is something that we rely on.
Nice to have you with us.
Happy Sunday. Lots to get to when it comes to what's going on in the forecast. We'll start with this. Monsoonal moisture will bring more rain chances, especially to the mountains in the desert region. But we could see some of that activity make its way over the valleys, even close to the coast. And we're heating up this week. Plus, we do have astronomical high tides. I'll explain that in just a moment. Here's a look at that satellite imagery around 8 o'clock on your Sunday. And here's a look at precipitation activity. Again, not all of this will reach the ground, but you can see where all of this is pushing up from the southeast, that monsoonal moisture making its way over San Diego County, mainly over the desert region as well as the mountain communities. But it looks like some of that could be reaching areas like Pine Valley as well as El Cajon. Back at the coastline for today, moderate rip current risk. Wave heights are going to be generally from about 2 to 4 feet, some areas up to about 5 feet. Look at the water temperature here, 68 to 74 degrees. It's going to feel really nice. And we're looking at high tide peaking around 10:30 this morning, and then low tide returns around 2:30 this afternoon. But high tide tonight is back around 8 o'clock, and that's when those astronomical high tides start to play a factor. Before we get to details on that, your daytime highs up and down the coastline generally from those mid-70s. So here it is. Beach hazard statement is in effect starting at 11 o'clock today. It's going to take us through 11 p.m. Tuesday because of these higher than normal high tides, and they'll be from about 7 to 7.5 feet. So when we start to see numbers like that, that indicates the chance that there could be coastal flooding for low-lying areas, parking lots, even nearby streets. And like I said, those wave heights from about 3 to 5 feet. But that window of time will be generally tonight at 8 o'clock, tomorrow at 8 p.m., and then again on Tuesday when we see most of that activity for the potential for that flooding. And here it is for your inland valley communities. I mentioned some of that monsoonal moisture pushing west. We actually could be getting some showers here through the 9 o'clock hour over those inland valley communities. Temperatures still right around the low 70s. It's going to feel a little bit humid today because of what's going on in the atmosphere. Mostly cloudy skies by noon, 83 degrees as we head into 2 o'clock. We're still hanging on to 80s as we head into 5 o'clock this evening. So humid today because of that monsoonal moisture in the forecast, and we're looking at low to mid 70s up and down the coast, 80s to about 90 degrees over the inland valleys, 80s and 90s over the mountains. And then take a look at your desert region, 107 back in the forecast there. So going into this afternoon, the winds aren't really going to be much of a factor for today. We'll see the return of marine layer overnight and that cloud cover that will be hanging around through tomorrow. And then we get some more of that rain activity back in the forecast over the mountains, over the desert region. And we can't rule out the chance for maybe even a thunderstorm too, which will bring that heavier rainfall. Here's a look at about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Look at your percentages along the coastline because of that cloud cover, that moisture. It's going to feel, like I said, a little bit muggy, a little sticky out there. And then it starts to kind of get a little bit more relief, I will say, as you get into the inland valley communities, but the humidity is a factor today throughout most of the week. Heat risk will also be a factor as we look ahead to Wednesday, one of the warmest days of the week. When we look at this map, you can see the colors here at the top of your screen, moderate for orange, major for red. And just last week when I showed you this for the desert region, we were generally just seeing the major category over the deserts, but now getting those pockets developing over the inland valley communities. And here's more details on that with the hot and humid conditions continuing throughout most of this week. Rain chances, thunderstorm chances, and those temperatures just building day by day. And your 10-day forecast really maps that out for you. So as you're planning your week, this is what you can expect. You can see by Tuesday, upper 70s near the coast, and then we're looking at 80s by midweek into Thursday, Friday. maybe even taking us into next weekend, even warmer than that over the Inland Valley communities, mid-90s by Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some triple digits over the valleys, and for the mountains, just off and on rain and thunderstorm chances. Same deal will go for the desert region. Those temperatures inching closer to about 110, maybe up to about 115 by midweek. I know that's a lot to get to. As always, make sure you're staying with NBC 7 for the latest on the forecast. Monica, I'll send it back over.
All right, Brooke, thank you. Animal specialists at SeaWorld San Diego are celebrating this new addition right here. Take a look at this cutie. Phoenix is a sea lion and first-time mom, and she welcomed an adorable baby girl on June 15th. That date is known as the unofficial Universal Sea Lion Pup Birthday because it's right in the middle of pupping season. The park says Phoenix has been keeping a watchful eye on her little one, who's been thriving behind the scenes, as you can see here. Visitors can expect the new pup to make her public debut in the coming months, but it looks like mom and baby are doing great, and they are very cute. There's more coverage you can count on at NBC7.com. I'm Monica Hernandez. Thanks for watching.